So there's an altercation that is doing the rounds on social media, and it shows a teacher at Fred Norman Secondary School in Ennerdale in Gauteng having an argument with the grandmother of a pupil. Now, that teacher has been placed on precautionary suspension following racism allegations. Verbal fight between the teacher and the pupil's grandmother. It took place on Friday at the school. It was recorded. It's gone viral. The teacher can be heard calling the grandmother trash and saying she doesn't like coloured people. But to be fair, you can also hear the grandmother, who's coloured, saying to the teacher, who I presume is black, go back to where you came from. So there were a lot of trash talking all round, in fact. But let's try and get some context now from the Gauteng Education MEC, Panyaza Lesufi. Mr. Lesufi, thank you very much for your time. Am I correct that this was recorded and posted, in fact, by the teacher herself?
Thank you so much and good evening, Sally. Yes, indeed, it was posted by the teacher herself. What happened as context is that the learner concerned could not be allowed to be in the class of the teacher for almost a month or so. And on that, unfortunately, she was supposed to come and write an examination. So the grandmother, being aware that the learner has been stopped from attending this history lesson, felt that she must go to the school and inquire about the incident. There's a protocol within the school. You don't just go and meet with the teacher. You have to meet with, or parents are allowed, or visitors are allowed to meet with teachers every Friday. That's when you are allowed to. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, this protocol was breached, and that's when the grandparents went to the school and wanted to meet with the teacher. All right. But the said teacher also had a bereavement. She lost a close family member as well. So she was not at school for quite some time as well because of that bereavement. So when this incident happened, I think it's a culmination of many other things. It cannot be justified. That is why we condemn it, and that is why we reject it, and that is why we have taken the action that we have taken.
So, first of all, why was the learner barred from the class, you say, for a month? That seems like an extremely long time to deny a child access to education.
And that's why I visited the school when I saw the report. I had a session with the principal and the school management just to understand that aspect. The school claims that they were not aware, and that's the reason why the principal has intervened and also started an investigation. I agree with you. A month is too much. We can't allow that kind of an incident to go that long unresolved. And I think that's the reason why the parent or the grandparent was so angered and felt that she must approach the educator. I've never heard the side of the educator, so I don't want to prejudge it. But on the basis of the footage and the basis of the information shared, that cannot be tolerated. And that is why we've taken the decision to remove the teacher from the school and ensure that a substitute teacher is found immediately, because I don't want learners to suffer on the basis that the teacher is not at school. And we also dispersed some psychosocial workers so that they can provide the necessary counseling and support to the family of the learner, and also resolve this matter of the learner not being at school and provide necessary catch-up programs so that the learner can be ready for examination.
Why were the kids in the video? I mean, this is bizarre, but maybe you know. They were all standing on their desks. Had they been
in front of children and disrespect the elderly? So we've put a strong team to investigate this matter. I remain hopeful they will get the necessary information that will allow us to act and act decisively.
So we're looking at a situation where the grandmother was really angry because her granddaughter had been denied access to this class for a month. Somehow it managed to get through protocols, which shouldn't be the way. You shouldn't have any parent or grandparent getting into the classroom because it disrupts the class, as we saw. So that's the one side of the story. On the other, as you say, the teacher lost her cool, which she shouldn't have done. She had a bereavement, so she was obviously in a fragile state. Is there any, a couple of people on social media commenting on the conduct of the child, because she obviously at one point sort of wade into this argument, and she also started verbally abusing the teacher. Is that understandable, given that there were insults being hurled at her grandmother, or is it something that you think needs to be looked into as well?
Respect should be the order of the day at all times, regardless of how emotionally drained or how you find yourself. Respect should be the hallmark of any institution, especially an education institution. So the behavior of the educator, the behavior of the grandparent, the behavior of the learner must be part of our investigations so that we can remedy the situation and build an everlasting relationship. I mean, if you check the great image the learner is in, and if you check that the learner has been exposed over the social media without covering their face, so it's another trauma that we need to intervene and support as well. So we will provide all the necessary support. But I'm saying respect should be the hallmark on how we interface or interrelate with our stakeholders. So if we find ourselves in a situation that is completely unacceptable, especially where racism is involved, racism, Sally, it's a bad thing. We should not tolerate it. We should not sugarcoat it. We should condemn it, no matter where it comes from. If we allow racism to flourish, if somebody say, I don't want to work with this constituency, and just been working with that constituency for quite some time, you ask yourself, if this part was not captured on video, how many times has she uttered those words, and how did she conduct herself? And if she has barred this learner for a month, is it not on the basis that she not wants to work with a certain section of our community? So it's deeper than the video itself, and that is why we are allowing this investigation to go deep so that we can get the necessary answers. But racism must be condemned, no matter where it comes from, must not be tolerated, because racists are mindless, useless, so we must not allow that.
Yeah, absolutely. Mr. Lesedi, I want to speak to you about another issue. I'm not sure if you do have an update for us, but the incredibly distressing news yesterday came through to this channel of a mother who picked up her children, her 2 children, from a primary school in Midrand, which we understand is linked to the mosque, the Turkish mosque there, and that someone opened fire on her. The mother's critical in hospital, but tragically, her 9-year-old son has died. Are you able to tell us anything more about that shooting, support being given to the family, perhaps to the school itself where the children come from?
Unfortunately, I didn't have that information. Actually, it reaches home because in that particular, my elder brother's daughter goes to that school. My immediate elder brother, actually, she's a student in that particular school. And when they narrated the story, I was deeply touched. But I know the law enforcement agencies have taken over, they've prioritized it. And I'm saddened that someone has passed on now. It's a sad moment. But it indicates a state of lawlessness where we are in, where people believe they can just take anything, including lives of people, without any form of regret or consequences. So we have to stop this, Sally. We can't allow lawlessness to flourish. And the only way to stop this thing is to strengthen our law enforcement agencies. They really have to come to the party and ensure that we don't allow people just to shoot people and vanish, and we say they've left. But I have confidence on the law enforcement agencies. I hope they will crack this particular case and ensure that the perpetrators are brought to book. And I want to extend our sincere condolences to the family. It's just a sad moment that we can't tolerate.
Yeah, absolutely tragic. Thank you so much for chatting to us this evening. Gauteng Education, MEC Panyaza Lesufi.